That would be great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's just 24/7, since pandemic started that, we thought everybody's gonna lock down, right? And it seems like I've been living in the county for 24/7. I have to go to, emergency operations center and just working and try to do whatever we can here.
Well, great. Well, in just about 1 minute, I'm going to introduce you to everybody or just kind of open this up, and then we'll get started.
Can you hear
And
me well,
so,
Tony?
yes,
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Kimberly, can you hear Supervisor Steele all right?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Doing well.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, Kimberly, why don't you go ahead and start recording, and we will get started.
You are clear.
Oh, okay, great. First of all, I want to thank everybody who is on this Zoom webinar for joining us. Today, this is part of a revelatory series that we're doing at the Newport Beach Association of Realtors, and we've invited also folks from Orange County Association also. And we're basically interviewing key kind of figures in politics and other areas, lending and so forth. Last week, Supervisor Steele, or 2 weeks ago, we had State Senator John Moorlach, who I know you're familiar with, kind of talking about some state issues, and we won't repeat a lot of that, go over a lot of that here, but I think you bring to the table, especially as the chairwoman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors, kind of a different perspective. And so before we get started, why don't we, since not all the realtors on this webinar may know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and as well as the district that you currently represent, and then kind of the exciting things that you're looking forward to hopefully in November.
Most beautiful cities start with Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, and goes in a little bit of inland, so Costa Mesa and Fountain Valley, and 10 cities in my district, and it's all beautiful. I am a first-generation Korean American. I was born in Korea and raised in Japan. So I speak Korean as my first language, and Japanese my second, and English is my third. And my mother, after my father passed away, my mom decided to send all 3 kids, and actually her too, come to America. So we came here, and my mom was abused by Board of Equalization. She used to own the clothing shop in downtown Los Angeles. She was arrested by Board of Equalization, so I went for Board of Equalization. My husband always said, don't make her mad because she's gonna be your boss someday. That's exactly what happened. So I served for 8 years. That's the tax agency. If you pay sales tax, then you know that tax agency very well. And I returned over $400 million back to the taxpayers. And then after it turned out that, I said, I'm going to run for Orange County Supervisor. I think I can communicate with people, and I just want to run. So I ran in 2014 and I won. And this is my, I guess, 6th year for the county board of supervisors. And I am very much enjoying it, but it's so different, from Board of Equalization to the county, because Board of Equalization is all the taxes. It's a tax court. Now it's been changed a little bit, but now that, we have 25 agencies and we have more than 20,000 people working at the county. So it's like a big house that, you are doing budget for the house. We are doing budget for the county. And you have to fix something. Yes, we are fixing it. So it's like a big house. County is like. Tony, we cannot hear you.
Sorry about that. Okay, so you're running for Congress also, right? In November, I think, is it against Harley Ruda?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now that was formerly Dana Rohrabacher's seat, and how are you feeling about that coming up, especially in light of District 25 yesterday. Republican Mike Garcia looks like he has the win there.
He's a first generation, and he's a flight pilot, and he is just an amazing candidate, and he did really well. All of my campaign volunteers actually last weekend we made all the calls for Mike Garcia's campaign. So I am very excited, and I'm very, very happy. And in November, I'm going to win. And you know what? We're going to serve together.
Excellent. Well, today there are two kind of main topics that I want to discuss because I think it impacts both realtors, but the larger community as well. The big question, of course, that everybody wants to know is when is the county going to reopen? And really, what are the impediments to getting back to normal? And then secondarily, which we haven't heard a lot talked about, at least here in Orange County, but I just on the way in, heard the news regarding LA County kind of starting this discussion is what are the financial impacts to the county and the cities resulting from this? I know yesterday the Orange County supervisors had a meeting and it was hot. I mean, it was really heart-wrenching, frankly, to hear the stories of all of these business owners coming up to the microphone, people who are really struggling and really anxious and almost panicked, which I totally understand. There are many realtors who feel that way as well. And I kind of feel like for the county, we seem to be, maybe for the state as a whole, we seem to be at a tipping point for the public in terms of how long will this stay-at-home order and these lockdowns kind of stay in place. And so I guess the first question is, we all want to know when we'll see a true reopening and kind of a new normal. If you would, kind of explain to us the county's current position with respect to reopening. Where are we at? Did anything come out of the meeting yesterday? And where do you kind of see things going?
Let's go back to in February. And, before even we had one infected patient or infected by coronavirus, I declared the emergency because I knew this is coming. So when patients are, we find out that infected, people are in Orange County, then we have to do something about it. That declaring emergency doesn't mean that supervisors are having, powers. This is only for county health officer can handle this. So county health officer was ready, and it was February 26th. And then we started moving on. And then in first part of March, governor locked down us. So, you know what? We actually, at the county level, we never really closed down everybody. So people were talking about reopening. How are we going to reopen? We never really closed down. Only thing is the state emergency is actually supersede counties. So they, under the state order, there's 7 businesses were mentioned. It's like a gym, restaurant, dining in, and there's 7 of them. So reopening is not really right word. So what happened was when people start getting, I got tons of calls, and I got, those like people's unemployment, requests. I got tons of those documents, and people start calling in, crying. They, they've been locked down for 2 months now that they don't have any money to put food on the table. So 3 weeks, actually about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I declared that, we have to have ad hoc committee. So we have to help businesses to reopen for them because they closed down by the governor's order. So we got the guidelines, and ad hoc committee, I really appreciate that there's 13 people, couple of medical doctors, and Grocers Association president, Restaurant Association president, Disney, OCBC, Lucy Dunn, you name it. All these people were very much concerned. So we set the guidelines. You can operate your businesses as long as you meet the guidelines. So we gave them. That's what happened. And one of the restaurant opens, impediment that we are talking about, State is the impediment at this point because one restaurant opened, guess what? They said they're gonna take the license away, alcohol license away. Do you know most of the restaurants? I used to own restaurant with my mom long time ago. It was really a long time ago. But when you lose those licenses, it's gonna be very tough to run. How about what they call? You know what? I told you English is my third language, so sometimes it's hard to pronounce. Cosmetology, right?
Cosmetology, yes.
Cosmetology. Sorry about that, Tony. So you know what? Governor threatened that if you open, we're gonna take your license away for 3 years. So biggest impediment here is governor. And then governor is the one gave us phase 2 to open. But it doesn't make any sense because out of 58 counties, we have some counties size of thousands of people too. LA County has 11 million people. How are you gonna have one fits all kind of program that that everybody has to meet? So that's the reason that we sent a letter out. Actually, 4 counties are working together right now. That County of Riverside, San Bernardino County, Orange County, and San Diego. 4 of us chairs sent a letter out actually this morning to the governor. Let's sit down. You have to understand that how local government works and what kind of things that we really need to reopen. That's why letter went out, and hopefully the governor is going to answer. So you know what? We can just open all the businesses. To me, we really have to open because out of that I've been getting all these reports from county health officer that most of people get it is senior citizens right now, vulnerable population, especially those high nursing homes. And we really have to watch those people closely and make sure they are not getting it. But young people, they are very much eager to work.
So I looked at the county stats yesterday. I haven't looked at the updated stats for today, but that was the one thing that was really glaring to me. And I think you're starting to see some media attention paid to that. I think when I looked at both the county site and then the state site yesterday, it looked like for Orange County, we had, as of yesterday, 76 deaths from COVID-19. It appeared that about 24 based on, I think the state side, I may have pulled this from, 24 of those deaths occurred in only like 16 facilities in the county. That's like almost 32% of all the deaths. And it looks like about 75% of all of the fatalities are people 65 and older, and over half are people 75 and older. So it's definitely something that is severely impacting, the elderly, and which is obviously the area where I would imagine, I heard yesterday that you guys wanted to dedicate a lot more resources to that. Going back to kind of the whole state issue, because I heard your colleague Don Wagner mention this yesterday at the meeting, that is that true? Has the state been threatening businesses that have state? You mentioned like cosmetology, but I mean, has the state really come down and actually threatened businesses that require some kind of state licensing to revoke them if they kind of buck the governor?
Well, actually, governor is hiring 20,000 people called. Their job is disease detectives. And he wants to hire these people watch over our backs. So yes, I heard about it. But at the same time, that restaurant that in Sacramento they opened, that I heard the threat that we're gonna take your alcohol license away. So yes, those threats coming in, because I said that in the county, we follow the governor's order. There's only 7 businesses were mentioned. Now that everybody that we mention or they open, then governor is going after those businesses. So governor doesn't understand that out of 4 counties that we sent a letter out, San Diego, Riverside, San Bernardino County, and Orange County got the best number out of those 4. of course that, those that number, every life is very precious. So we don't want to lose those people. That's
Of
why
course.
we really have to watch those nursing homes and, those homeless shelters. And we are actually dividing those homeless shelters when they're over 65 or chronic disease people, that we are separating those people out of the shelter and bring in the motels or other areas.
So thank you for that, by the way, because I think that was, I know in watching the meeting yesterday, that was very sobering for me, because I'm kind of the personal view, as I think many people are, that I'd love to see us reopen a lot quicker and more aggressively. But I didn't know that the state was kind of laying down the law. And I certainly didn't know that the state was sending inspectors out to kind of monitor compliance with the governor's orders. That's very new to me. With respect to real estate specifically, right now we're in a position where we're not allowed to do open houses. And do you know, is that something that is a kind of a state directive, or is that a county directive? Because one of the things are, when can we start holding open houses, when we can start kind of getting back to a more regular form of business?
You know what? It has nothing to do with the county. And, especially for even under the state order, that those essential business versus non-essential, that were not really clear. So, to me, every businesses are essential. So you know what? That was not clear. That's the reason that Orange County said that, other than those 7 specified under the state order, all other people can open, especially real estate agents, that, you go in with the masks on. I heard that mask is more dangerous actually for the healthy people, because you cannot have your healthy air out there. And then, you know what? You are 6 feet away from each other. Why not showing those houses? Why you're staying at home? I think since that state order is now really clear that non-essential businesses that you cannot really run, I think they should go out and start selling these, houses. That's what, in Orange County, that we are not enforcing any businesses at all at this time. I've been talking to Sheriff Don Barnes for a few times. And
Pardon me, Supervisor Steele, just to interrupt for one moment. Can you speak up just a little bit more? I know a few members are having some difficulty hearing you, if you don't mind.
So we are not, at the county level, we are not enforcing any of these, businesses that they are opening up.
I see. And you were mentioning something about the sheriff. The sheriff's not enforcing that either.
Oh, yeah. I talked to, we go to Emergency Operations Center, and then you know what? We are there almost every day. And Sheriff Barnes and I talked. He said he's never gonna enforce any of these businesses that they are opening.
Okay, well, I guess that's one area of encouragement, one layer of government that we don't have to worry about. I noticed in listening to the governor, the state's laid out this 4-stage plan to reopen. We're kind of in this stage 2 right now with retail stores being able to do curbside pickup. I went to the state website, kind of downloaded the documents for the 4 stages to kind of see. It seems all like very ambiguous to me. I mean, can you make better sense out of what the plans are on the state level, since you've indicated that it's not the county that's standing in the way of things?
Tony, that's a state order. And then, if you think it's ambiguous, then you know what? To me, it's the same thing too. Especially like phase 2, that you can just pick up this merchandise on the curbside. What is the difference between you go to Target and pick up all these merchandise inside of the store, and all these mom and pop store that you have to pick it up from outside? That doesn't make any sense. When I have an ad hoc committee, I had 13 people. Everybody joined every meeting, and they all written what we have to do to make sure that all these businesses can operate. For governor's advisory board has 80 people. Do you know they can even communicate that with 80 people, how many meetings that they can have? So, and then, every time governor goes out there, when he speaks, he said, I have a scientific data based on this. What scientific data? How it can be changed from Friday to Monday that he changed his mind? Especially for phase 2, in Orange County population, we have to do 4,500 tests every day. We do about over 2,000, 2,500 at this point a day, these days during the weekdays. But you know what? How are we gonna pull the people on the street that you have to do the test because this is the goal that state is requiring us to do? So it has to be reasonable. But
is this with respect to, because I'd heard that on the governor's briefing, when was it? I want to say it was maybe Monday, where it almost felt like to me that he kind of wanted to punt some of these issues by encouraging the counties to apply for variances to the state rulings. And so, and I saw that mentioned at the supervisors meeting yesterday. One of those, in order to get the variance, you have to meet certain criteria. In other words, in order to deviate from the state's plan. And one of those was to do, what was it? Would you say 4,000 tests a day?
4,500 tests.
And so is our issue?
Actually, we have 9,000 capability testing can be done a day. So that's the reason that, that's the reason we send a letter out with the 4 different counties. But at the same time, our county health officer is preparing. That's why we got a little bit of PowerPoint yesterday, but it's coming out on, I believe it's Thursday, tomorrow. And I'm gonna look at those that, what kind of variances that we can really open up all the businesses. The problem is, even we are asking all the businesses to open, people are very much scared of what the state's gonna do to them. So that's the reason that we are communicating with the state. So county health officer, Dr. Quick, is preparing, and we're gonna see that what variances that, we really need to open all the businesses by tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that whole idea, that whole thing of testing has been obviously a big topic, as you know. And so you're indicating that we have currently capacity to test like 9,000 people a day. The state wants, among other criteria that they're looking for, is like 4,300 or something a day. So why aren't more people being tested? Because I know one of the questions that we have very frequently is, hey, I don't even know where to get a test. I can't get a test. So do you have any information? I don't know if this is better suited for the health department than you, but what do people need to do to get tested, basically?
Actually, we have 12 different testing sites. So people want to go test. Yes, you can do the test. The first, when pandemic started, at that time, we didn't have enough test kits. So that's the reason that, we couldn't test many people. Not only that, FDA never really approved any of those test kits, and it was just coming in. Right now, that 95% of the younger people, and they are asymptomatic, so it doesn't even show. So it's all voluntary. If you want to voluntarily get testing done, yes, you can do it. More important now is FDA never actually approved any of the serology tests. It's a blood testing until like 3 weeks ago. Finally, FDA is approving those serology tests. Serology test is very, very important because you can find out that you have antibody or not. So in Orange County, that those younger generation, younger people, that they want to go to work, but they had antibody, it's much easier them to go back to work because they have antibody. But this is a very new disease. So you know what? Some of the doctors said, even you have antibody, a few months later, you might gonna get again. So we don't even know. But we know more and we have more testing kits and we do have more information than before. So all the policies, what governor is running, that policy has to be changed to accordingly that how many informations that we are getting in. But right now that at the county, we are not just doing swab tests, but we are doing actually antibody, those serology tests do it too. This is
So
very
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is there a place on the county website where people can go to kind of look for these testing sites?
yes. The healthcare agency, you're going in. I don't remember exactly. I used to say
Yeah, just the OC Health.
yeah, healthcare agency going in,
Mhm.
and then we have 12 different sites that you can go.
Okay. Last question, kind of just about what is within the county's control. You know, I know a few weeks ago there was the big talk about the beaches, parking lots being closed. Where are we at with county parks and beaches and everything else with respect to that?
Well,
And to the elements that the county has under its control?
You know what? I thought the beaches were always county control, county and city controls. But you know what? When the governor comes down and just closed down only Orange County beaches, it was really interesting because you know what? State beaches were open, and then he's just he's just closing down only Orange County beaches. At the same time, before he closed down, you know, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, that's all in my district, never had one incident. So think about that. It's really interesting why governor wants to control the beaches. Having said that, yesterday, actually Don Wagner asked that, you know, why don't we just open up the parking lots for trails and parks? So I added, why not opening up the beach parking? Because now that governor required us to do active recreation means you cannot sit on the beach. I've never heard because most of people want to sit down on the sand, but you cannot do it. You have to keep moving. These, surfers, you cannot leave even one surfboard on the sand. So you have to take that to the bathroom. Think about that. So I said, why don't we add the parking, beach parkings, because people cannot sit there anyway. So why don't we just open up? You know what? I didn't have 3 votes. So at least we had the first step, all the trails and all the county parks, we opened the parking lots.
Okay, so but the beaches are still the beach lots are still shut down, and you just didn't have enough votes from your other counterparts to pass that. Is that it sounds like maybe you and Don Wagner were the ones that voted, and you had 3 others that said no. I'm assuming.
I really want. You know what? I want to open the beaches because when son is surfing, mom wants to sit there and watching that. You know, her son surfing. Then she can sit there. What's the matter with that? I mean, you know what? People are much more responsible than all these elected people think that, you know, we are not. But people think that it's too dangerous. They're not going to go, you know, anywhere that it's dangerous places. If you think you're too close to next person that who is sick, then you know what? You're not going to go close to that person. So we really have to trust our Orange County residents, and they've been doing great jobs. So we have to give them more freedom instead of just lock them down.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. A couple of questions that have just kind of come in as people are listening, and I don't know if this is within your purview or not, but you know, one of the questions was with respect to lock boxes being put onto vacant homes. Some concern as to whether or not they can put a lockbox on a vacant home. Has the county made any regulations specifically about that you're aware of?
Nope, county never made that kind of regulations.
Okay. And, you know, we talked a little bit about how do we open, I guess the question is how to open up at a faster rate than maybe the state is going. And so I know in listening to the governor on Monday, he mentioned this variance. I think it's called a variance. I may have the terminology wrong, but to apply for some sort of variance kind of to open up sooner, meeting milestones. And you kind of briefly touched on that it sounded like the county is preparing that. when do you expect an actual plan that might differ from the state to go up to the governor for some sort of consideration?
First of all, that you know what, we send a letter out and we want to sit down, and that what those phases are not going to work for big counties like us. And second thing is our county health officer is preparing the variances for tomorrow. So as soon as I get that, we're going to send to the governor that, you know, this is Orange County variances. So we want to open up. I mean, you know what? It's always too late. I mean, even now we open up, we try to catch up. 2 months ago, the state budget, we had $21 billion surplus. Now they're talking about $54.3 billion shortfall. You know what? It's time to open up, because especially younger generations, they want to work. And this is not going to work that, you know, you keep closing it and then you keep asking federal government to print the money and give us money to cover these expenses. Who's going to pay for it? Not just us, our kids have to pay for it. So it's not going to work. Let people work. Healthy people go out and just open up now. That's what I'm asking.
So that goes to my next question, actually, is I want to talk a little bit about the financial impact to the county and to the cities. I know LA County already announced today they're going through the discussion, I think, today about what county programs are going to have to be cut to deal with their budget shortfall. And, you know, as obviously you're well aware, our county went through a bankruptcy a number of years ago. Is this going to, what position is this going to put us in? Are we at a tipping point for going through another bankruptcy? What financial impact is this likely to have on the county?
Our bankruptcy paid off by last year, June. No, we don't want to go through another bankruptcy. Having said that, we are actually looking at governor's, the revision budget that we're going to look at that. In Orange County, we have about $7.8 billion budget. Out of that what operation we can use inside of the county operation budget is about $860 million. We are talking about out of that 200 million might gonna be short. So we really have to looking at it next month that we're going through the budget, and we have to really cut someplace. But you know what? We really have to looking at where we're gonna cut. At this point, we're just looking at the governor's budget that, you know, how much we're gonna get for the county, and then we're gonna think about it. But this is the time to open up.
I think one of the things that most people don't realize is two things. Number one, we're a net donor to the state. We give more money to the state in Orange County than we receive. And I was really surprised to learn that the county gets a lot of their income from property taxes, correct? Is it property tax and sales taxes are kind of the two main revenue sources?
So property taxes, that, you know what, it's really interesting because we used to have a lot of orange trees in Orange County. So at that time when they divided, we are talking about one pie that, you know, how you divide it. So San Diego County and Orange County right now populations are almost same. San Diego has just a little more. That's why Orange County third largest out of 58. San Diego gets 9 cents out of dollar that they collect from property taxes. Orange County, we get 6 cents out of $1 that we collect.
6 cents out of $1?
Yes. I believe that LA County is getting about 22 cents out of $1. This is totally not fair. So we keep asking our legislator to, asking to change. But you know what? It never really went through. So we are still living with 6 cents per dollar that we collect, from the property taxes. That's why our operational budget is very low.
Is that going to play into, do you think, on the state level or on the county level, us opening up quicker? And let's say we go 2 weeks from now and the governor still got us in this state. Is there at a point when you think the county and your other supervisors will basically defy the governor?
You know what, sooner or later, if he's not going to give, when we, give him variances, and then we send a letter out to sit down, and we are doing whatever we can, because most of business people, they are very much scared to open. So that's why we try to accommodate with the governor, that make sure that we have daily communications with the governor's office. If it doesn't work, yes, sometime that, soon, maybe next few days, we should open up everything. That's the reason we are working with the other counties that they cannot meet those phases. So, we're gonna work together, especially
Is
when
the
not just one county, but Southern California counties working together. Most likely it's better than just Orange County only.
is active recreation going to be part of that? Because I know the beach, obviously we talked about the beaches briefly, and obviously you've made it clear how you feel about that. Is in terms of developing the plan, is that going to be a component of that? Is kind of to lift some of these ridiculous things? I know you're talking about reopening everything. I guess maybe the broader question is, what does that look like to you?
There's a lawsuit by the civil rights attorney Harmeet Dillon that's pending right now. So you know what? Why we have to have a permission from the governor to open our own beaches? That's just, I should not use this word, so I'm gonna just pass it through. But you know what? We don't need permission. What happened to local control? And you know what? These beaches, people need more than ever right now. Instead of locked down inside of the house, they need fresh air. They have to walk. They have to sit on the beach. I mean, what's wrong with that? So hopefully that has to be opened up too. It's really interesting because right after he closed down, he was asking us the plan, that what are you gonna do about your beaches if I give you permission to open? So we asked that what state is doing for their beaches. You know what? They never answered for that. So it goes both ways, but you know what? Beaches, we have to really open up.
I'm surprised even at this point, even that Orange County, maybe in conjunction with some of the other counties, haven't sued the governor. I mean, at what point do we decide to litigate? I mean, at what point do you kind of move forward with some sort of litigation? I noticed during the meeting yesterday, I think one of the dissenters from your proposal, Supervisor Doe, seemed to suggest he's not going to vote for anything unless we win a court case, unless it's taken to court. Very rule following kind of nature. But at what point do you guys decide to take things to the next level? And
try to go to the court is going to take forever. So, first of all, that we want to open up right away. That's the reason that we sent a letter out to the governor, and we try to give him the variances of Orange County. We're going to try to do whatever we can to open up right away. If you try to go to the court, I mean, it takes my husband is an attorney, and we have 3 attorneys on the board, but they all know more than, I'm not an attorney, so more than me or any other people. But going to the court is not always the right, decision making. So we really open up right now. So that's the reason that we send a letter out. We try to reach out and have the communication open.
well, great. Well, thank you for that. If as we kind of wrap up, we've kind of covered the key issues, and I'm kind of getting the sense that your hands are tied in 2 separate ways. You have the state, which is kind of impeding things, but it also sounds like maybe some of your colleagues aren't don't want to be as aggressive either, and I understand that they're doing what they think is right too. At this point, would you be willing to answer some questions from members that have kind of come in?
But you know what, when I came in and I was running for Board of Supervisor, people said, at least you know how to count 3. So 3 is very, very important. So you know what, we need 3 votes. And at the same time, it's really interesting, all the businesses that, if everybody opens up, what governor is going to do? Because I heard from my pastor that all the church is going to open from May 31st. So you know what? They have all the letters going out. Since marijuana shop is an essential business, why not churches? Right now, the suicidal rate is going up so much. You know, domestic violence is going up so much. We need the churches, you know, more than ever. So all the pastors and reverends are getting together and they say they're going to open up. So if we work together, I think it's going to be much faster that we can open up.
Well, great. I'm sure we would all like that. Would you be willing to answer some questions from some members? I know we've got a handful of questions that people have.
Yes.
You got a couple minutes?
Mhm.
Okay. Kimberly, do you want to go ahead and present a couple of those?
Of course. So one of them is lots of people want to get tested for COVID, but can't without symptoms. Where can people go get tested? I did put the link to where the testing occurs in the chat panel. I don't know, Supervisor, if you have anything about the symptom-ish part of the question, or?
Well, it's, you know what, it's, my assistant's giving me, you know what, as I told you, there's a 12 different sites that you can go. It's voluntary, that if you want to get tests done without symptoms, you can still get tests done. So you can, you know, go to the healthcare agency website and find one of those 12 testing sites and then go in there and find out. Yes, you can get it.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Another.
Kimberly, it was really different before that because we didn't have enough testing kits at that time. So we were just giving it out only somebody who shows the symptoms at that time. Now, anybody who wants to get tested, they can do it in Orange County.
Wonderful, thank you. I have another question saying, I don't want to get a test. Does the government have the legal right to make me?
No. Government doesn't have any legal rights. I came to this country to enjoy my freedom. We still have some freedom here. So no, government cannot tell you to get tested.
I thought what was interesting, by the way, during the meeting yesterday was when we were talking about the variants, when you folks were talking about the variances and getting that from the state, and the state wanting like 4,300 tests a day as one of the milestones, in addition to, you know, the no deaths for 14 days thing statewide, that they're just, you guys had indicated, as you'd mentioned here, that you have the capability to do the 9,000 tests. It's not an issue of getting the test. It's just nobody has felt the need to get the test. So it seems. So I thought that was kind of very revealing.
For that, you know what? Out of, I believe as of today, we have 80 deaths, right? Altogether, just reported altogether. So out of 80 deaths, I keep asking our county health officer that how they died with just only COVID only. None of them. They're all complications comes with it. So know that exactly what does that mean, because we have people dying with naturally or sometimes with other symptoms. And for this COVID related, COVID is one of the part of it, but because of with other complications, you know, people are dying. So when governor said one death, no death in 14 days, it's almost impossible to meet.
So, you know, that brings up another question, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but I'll ask it anyway. With respect to the recent, because we've kind of seen a little bit of a spike in hospitalizations in Orange County due to COVID, do we know of that increase that we've had over the prior weeks, how many of those people stem from these outbreaks at these skilled nursing facilities, the residential care facilities? I'm just curious if you have numbers on that at all. And as I said, this may not be appropriate for you. You may not know that off the top of your head, but
I asked for that number because I wanted to see that exactly, those numbers are very important because since that, one day we had only seven out of like a few hundred tests was done. Then after that, it started going up. It was one of the high risk nursing home that one of the staffer got it, and then that staffer actually spread those, you know, uh, residents in that nursing home. So you know what? I asked for it, and right now, as of now, that out of 80 deaths, we have about 20 some are from those nursing facilities that they died. So mostly right now, the number is growing, actually, increased are mostly from the nursing homes. So we have different numbers here that jail inmates separately report, and then we have the high skilled nursing home numbers are separately reported. So when people go into the healthcare agency website and they know exactly that, how many people died from the nursing homes. But you know what? As of now in Orange County, that we never really put down how many recovered, because we said 3,700 people got infected, but it seems like we still have 3,700 people. So I asked, I actually directed to our staff to give us those recovered numbers, because some of the counties they report and our county never did that. So it's going to come back, and people know that out of 3,700 who were recovered, most likely more than half of them are recovered.
Do you know this recent spike in hospitalizations that we've had? Is that because I know a week prior it was announced that I think in Huntington Beach or I forget one of the facilities had a kind of an increase, kind of an outbreak. And so I'm just curious if you don't know, that's okay. I'm just kind of throwing this at you. Of the increase in hospitalizations and ICUs that we're seeing now over, let's say, the week before, are those people mostly coming from these skilled nursing facilities? Is it a result of these outbreaks that we heard about maybe a week ago?
Yes, it's not just one from Huntington Beach, but right now 4 nursing facilities that they are, getting it. So most of these hospitalizations, that number is going up. It's mostly from the nursing homes that they are. So that's why I said open up, but public safety is very important. So we watch those vulnerable populations, and we watch them, we serve them. But younger generations, when they don't get sick, they should come out work.
Okay, and one person had asked in the thank you for that, by the way. One person had asked on the screen in the group here had asked a question about the state. Had the state mandated some additional, I don't know, affordable or shelter housing as a result of this? I guess the question was, what's happening with the state mandate for additional housing units due to the due to the virus, and have the dates been extended for the cities to reply? So I don't know if you have any expertise on that.
This is that actually state provided us that what kind of hotels they had to sign up, that they are voluntarily, that they want to put these infected people in there. It's not just nursing homes, but we're gonna just quarantine people out there. So state gave us those lists of the hotels, but you have to work with the cities. We have, I believe, how many open we have? I think we opened like a couple of them as of now. But you know what? You cannot just rent the place that without any patients, because since March, when coronavirus broke out, that we thought that all these hospital beds are gonna be totally filled, and we need more. You know what? We had the average 5,900 beds were available in Orange County every day. So we are getting those motels, and we are separating these homeless people, or somebody who is sick or who is supposed to be quarantined and who has chronic diseases, and we are separating them. But we are getting those motels to sign up as we need it as base. so you don't have to waste money. A lot of times that when we are renting those places and we don't get reimbursed by the state, so actually when first hotel we signed up, we asked the state to co-sign it because they said they're gonna pay for it. Guess what? When we asked for it, they said they're not gonna sign it. So we signed it and we are responsible, hopefully that we're gonna get that, those reimbursement money. But right now the governor said that if you defy me, then we're not gonna give you those money. So he's threatening from every directions possible.
Okay, well, that is really helpful and useful information. Well, we're kind of coming up on our time here. First of all, I wanted you to know that we thank you very, very much for spending this time and having this chat and answering these some of these questions on the fly. Really grateful to you, Supervisor Steele. Before we part ways, I know you're running for Congress against Harley Ruda, and I know it's early on. That was a big upset in the county. I think that was the kind of bellwether for the county turning blue in some respects. I don't want to get too political, but I am curious as to how do you think residents view you relative to him? Why are you running for that seat?
I reflect the 48th congressional district people's values more than he does. I've been here and my district, actually 66% of my district overlaps 48th congressional district, and I know what residents want, and I have a lot of town hall meetings and I go out there and I communicate with our own residents. I am not like my opponent that who was totally with the governor when that governor asked us to shut down the beaches. But you know what? He wasn't enjoying his own beach at that day. So how can you agree with the governor to shut down, but he's enjoying it? So he's different level of us. So you know what? I understand that what our residents want, and you know what? I think I can represent our residents much better than he does. That's why I'm running.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining us. And who knows, we'll see how this develops. And if you're willing, maybe at some point, if need be, we'll have you on again. Thank you so much.
Let's open up. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
For joining us.
Thank you.